cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut.
Today's episode is brought to you by ETB Games. ETB Games is, of course, our locals in Alexandria, Louisiana. They are our one-stop shop for all of our card game needs. They have singles and sealed product for the games that you love, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, and Pokemon. Of course, you can also find the accessories that you need, such as sleeves, binders, playmats, and more. And if you're into D&D, well, they have all of your D&D figurines, the paint for the figurines, dice, books, and anything that you would need to play. So be sure to check out ETB Games. There's a link in the description down below. And now, back to today's episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome into today's episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. My name, of course, is Sunny. I'm your host. I'm here with my co-host, Caleb.
Yo!
And, of course, we want to go ahead and thank today's sponsor for today's video. We want to thank ETB Games, who should have been an ad played right before this, but a huge thank you to ETB Games, as well as all of our other sponsors. Of course, we have the wonderful gem accessories, the marvelous Millennium Threads, and of course, we cannot forget about Dragon Shield and TCG Player. So if you are interested in any of those, we have a discount code down below for gem accessories. You can find I think it's 10% off your first order for gem accessories. And there's also a 10% off discount code for Millennium Threads. And then if you use the TCG Player or Dragon Shield affiliate links before you shop, they help support the podcast directly. So with that said, let's go ahead and thank our biggest sponsors, who are, of course, our patrons. So a huge thank you to Cam Yang, Top Cuts, Trouble Sunny, and Caleb, Austin Johnson, Kane Martin, Zyphris, Yeet the Feet AD, Blackwing, Silverwind the Ascendant is the best Floodgate, Earth Machine best deck, Epi, Has Anyone Actually Read Toy Vendor, HGH Cyber, I Am McLincoln, Mountain Man, Oatmeal Spaghetti, Owen Alvarado, Pig, Quitting the Game as a Floodgate, Sprite Farter. The Top Cut podcast is proudly sponsored by Mystic Mine. Sure. Unbanned Number 95 Konami, Understanding and Reading are two different things. Virtually Savior's World. Yes, I still play Beat Troopers. 'Tis a decently good deck. Okay.
Sure.
I disagree. But Rogue and Tier 2 are the polite terms for bad deck. Beat Troopers are Rogue. Aaron Gardner, Asami, Ashless Chaps, Duty Booty, Dragon Maidenless Behavior, Drink Every Time Sunny Disagrees with Caleb, Fur Hire Dog Turd, Heroes Pebble Cereal. Oh, Heroes Pebble Cereal.
Oh, Heroes.
Okay, I like that. Jerry Beans, man. King Henry, Old Man Red, pin code 143, Ray Powell, Schlaking It Up, Sunny is a freaky worm guy, and a Vampire for All Lines, the only waifu a person should have. Isn't that right, Sunny? I still don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I agree or not. Well, I know I don't, but, you know. Okay, so we want to take just a moment to give the biggest of shout-outs to the one and only Mr. Hani Jahari, who just about an hour ago, as of this recording, won YCS Pasadena 2022 playing tier limit Shizu Bishtiel stuff.
Self-mill pile.
Not self, just mill, because the Shizu cards also mill your opponent's stuff.
That's fair, but they're primarily there to mill yourself, right? So
yeah, you don't want to mill your opponent too much.
Yeah, because then they also get their effects off.
Right. So we, of course, want to congratulate Hani on his wonderful win, and we also want to congratulate Mr. Jesse Cotton for his runner-up finish. A bit of a big unfort for Jesse, who is coming off of, I believe, back-to-back YCS runner-ups.
Yep, finally got knocked down. Golf clapped for the both of them.
Knocked down? That's a bit of a harsh way to say it.
Well, that is true. It's more of a combo breaker, I guess.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Jesse Cotton is one of the best duelists of the modern age.
Oh, easily.
And he has a litany of accolades to go with it. Multiple, I think 3 back-to-back Worlds appearances. He is, without a doubt, one of the best duelists in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. And I don't want any disrespect put on his name.
Absolutely not. No, I say all of that in a friendly manner.
Yeah. most importantly, though, I would just say, oh my goodness. Both duelists played an amazing finals. Me and Kayla went back. We watched it because we didn't get to watch it quite live.
Yeah.
We turned it on as it was ending.
Yeah, like it already ended and all the cheering. You could still see people in the back just, oh my God. Just in the back.
Just,
freaking
yeah.
out. Yeah.
It was, without a doubt, one of the best matches of Yu-Gi-Oh! I've seen in a long time. And there was quite a surprising amount of back and forth.
I mean, at one point, didn't they go up to Chain Link 12?
Close to it.
Yeah.
Close to it.
And there was a whole lot of, cool, activate this effect, response. Yeah, I'm gonna activate this effect. Cool, response, activate. It was just a lot of back and forth.
Yes.
Okay, in resolution, I got this, this, and this. What do you got? I got like this, this, and this going off.
Right. Yeah, it was such a unique matchup. So, as we said, Hani was playing the Ishizu Tier Limit Bestial deck, which was also exactly what Jesse Cotton was playing.
Almost card for card.
Yes. We don't have exact deck lists,
Yeah.
but that deck has like 35 cards set in stone.
Yeah, so there's really not a lot of room for experimentation or what's the word I'm looking for? There's not a whole lot of room for like flair.
Yeah.
Personalization.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's like
Text.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of room in the deck for just personal text.
Right. So I do want to say though, we are officially in a tier 0 format.
Yes.
Without a doubt, this is 100% officially a tier 0 format. And that can be pretty set in stone when you look at the top cut of YCS Pasadena today. So, if you look at the top cut, you see 26 of top 32 was Ishizu tier limits. Now, some were playing the Bestial package, some were not, but 26 of top 32 was Ishizu tier, which, when you do the math, works out to what, Caleb? 26 divided by 32.
26 divided by 32. 81%.
Yeah, so
rounding down because like 81.25.
Yeah. Over 80% of top cut is Ishizu tier. That is insane.
That is, what is that, like 16 points above the minimum requirement for tier 0?
Yeah. I mean, the number I've always heard was 65% top cut
Yeah.
representation is tier 0, but you could call it 70, because at 70 you're more than double the entire rest of the field. Regardless of what number you want to put it at,
Yeah.
it's tier 0.
Oh yeah,
without a doubt.
Even if you're like, no, it's got to be at least 80. This is 81.
Right. Let's look at the decks. Let's just take a moment to talk about the decks that made an appearance in Top Cut despite not being that. So we have 6 decks, which are just Sprite. I don't know if this is pure Sprite or if this is some variant of Sprite.
Yeah, or like some Sprite with another engine splashed in, or a bunch of engines. We won't know until we get the deck lists.
Right. There were 2 other sprites, but they were both Bestial sprites specifically. So I don't know quite what was going on with the pure sprite deck list, but it's something that I would really love to see.
Definitely.
2 Fluanderies. This, in a way, almost makes sense. This is, to me, this is reminiscent, seeing Fluanderies in Top Cut, of the Evil Swarms in Top Cut in the Dragon Ruler format, because it's just, it directly counters the best deck. So you see a smattering of it.
I just had an evil thought.
That does not surprise me at all.
Does Fluanderies care about graveyard effects at all?
No, they actively avoid them.
They can run Soul Drain.
I mean, yeah,
It is Skill Drain,
but for the graveyard.
but Abyss Dweller flavored.
Yeah, they can. Usually they prefer to just run Dimension Shifter.
Yeah.
Because all their stuff when it leaves the field just gets banished. Pretty much.
But Soul Drain though.
It is funny.
Yeah, just they're like, yeah, I got this. Flip a Soul Drain. Huh.
That's interesting. And then the last card is Math. The last deck is Math Mech.
I can only assume just a really good mathemech player.
Either that or he got really, really lucky.
I mean, they might just be goated with the sauce, dude.
That dude sounds like he's goated with the sauce. That's insane. So, but overall, just
You know what deck I'm surprised didn't get there?
what?
Exorcisters.
That is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It just won. It won a regional in Central America.
Yeah, but then here it does nothing.
Yeah, that's weird.
I wonder what maybe it's just that people just aren't interested in playing the deck.
I don't know. So this was not the only event that we did have this weekend, though. We also had an event in Hamburg, Germany, which was it was a regional, and we had the top 8 from that. Which first place was Sprite. Okay. The rest of top 4 was 3 Tier Limit Ishizu, and then top 8 was 3 Tier Limit Ishizu and Mine Burn. It'd be like that sometimes.
Only in the birthplace of the hamburger.
Yeah. So you have 6 Tier Limit Ishizu there, which is obviously 75%. Once again, still tier 0. Mm-hmm. And we have Bordeaux, France, which we have the entire top 8 of that also, which is, let's see here, 7 Tier Limit Ishizu and 1 Rika.
That is Rika?
Yeah, Rika.
Huh.
I mean, Rika won the European World Championship qualifier like a month ago or 2 months ago.
Yeah,
it's a good deck.
That was before Ishizu came and just...
Well, how about this? Burnaby, British Columbia, one of the top 8 lists was Naturia.
Naturia?
So you haven't seen this deck yet, have you?
Not recently.
You haven't been tracking the meta.
Not really. I'm just like Ishizu tier element.
There's a Naturia Ishizu deck.
Uh-huh.
Naturia's got a bunch of new support in the most recent set, Darkwing Blast.
Yeah, they got like Mole Cricket and a flower.
Camellia.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're crazy. When they go to the graveyard, they get effects off.
Oh.
That face you made there was priceless. Audio listeners love you to death. You need to watch that so you can see Caleb's face there. He made the best face.
I make good facial expressions.
He does.
Funny.
He does. So yeah, Naturia Ishizu did get a top 8, which I happen to know that's the deck that Gage took to Pasadena, and he said it sucked. So I'm happy for this person that did it. I saw MBT's 10-minute testing of the deck. It looks very cool. I won't be playing it though.
Hey, maybe we're just not good enough.
Yeah.
Obviously, that dude is on a different level than we are.
Yeah. Then we had a Fayetteville, Arkansas regional, which top 4, we have an Ishizu tier limit, and then we have a couple of top 8s, which are a rank 4 runic deck, which is weird.
Oh, because I think because their fusions that they just kind of special summon are all level 4.
That makes sense.
So you just
spam into Abyss Dweller, got it. And then Tri Brigade Sprite also got top 8 there. Fayetteville's on some weird stuff. Next we have another German regional, Heidenrad Kemmel? Yeah. Which we have 3 of the top 8 decks, which are 1 tier limit Danger and 2 tier limit Ishizu. Well, we have 2 Merida Mexico, which were 1 top 4, which is Fluandrees, and a top 8 for Sprite. And then Morgantown, West Virginia, we have a top 8 Sprite. So, with that said, it is very, very clear. It is not just this one YCS. It is also backed up by a lot of regional results that Ishizu tier is the best deck, and it's not close. It's not remotely close.
Damn. And I do apologize to people who are from that last city, but ich spreche den Deutsch. I don't speak German.
But you just said a sentence in German.
Yes, I know 2 sentences in German. One of them is I don't speak German,
and the other one is something you're not allowed to say on the podcast.
No, it's Du sprachen Sie English?
Do you speak English?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I know a little bit more Spanish than that, though.
I know none of either of them. I know a smidge of French.
I know...
Parlez-vous français?
Parlez-vous anglais?
Yeah,
That's
something
all.
like
That's
that.
all. That's all the French I know. And
I don't think it's Inglés in French.
it's probably more like ingeles.
I don't know.
Yeah. And then for Spanish, I know.
I didn't pay that close attention in French class.
Tu habla inglés? El pollo burrito, por favor.
Do you do you have a chicken burrito?
No, may I have a chicken burrito?
Oh. It's not a do you have, it's give one to me. I want one.
No, may I have? And then there's also el baño,
I don't know that.
the bathroom
Oh, fair enough.
with an upward inflection
With an upward inflection, audio listeners love you
to denote a question.
Yeah.
I'm still doing it.
So like we said, first place for YCS Pasadena was a Shizu Tier. Second place is Shizu Tier from Jesse Cotton. The other two in top 4 were Cody Angelov playing a Shizu Tier and Vincent Wong playing a Bestial Sprite. Top 8 you have let's see, Brian Gomez playing it. Well, it's all a Shizu Tier. But
Of course.
Brian Gomez, Gabriel Netz, Canadias Liu, and Walter Jewell. And then top 16, we have all Ishizu tier except for one Fluon Deriz.
Oh my god.
And top 32 is, like we said, everything was Ishizu tier except for a couple Flus, couple Sprites. So, now, what I find really, really interesting about this particular format with this particular top 32, going through top 32, Hani Jahari, Jesse Cotton, Vincent Wong. I have heard of Vincent Wong, I'm pretty sure. Cody Angelov, Gabriel Netz, Walter Jewell, Dominic Couch, Jake Kinsey, so Vladis Baranovskis. That is Vlad Hypnocorn, I believe.
Man, what a name.
Yeah, he's like an editor for Farfa and stuff.
Yeah. Cool,
Yeah.
cool dude.
Yeah, yes. He was extremely nice at YCS Niagara when I met him.
Mhm.
And then we have Charlie Futch. Let's see. And Pakawat and Ryan Jabri. That is, off the top of my head, 11 extremely well-known, extremely successful players. Now, I'm sure all of these players are good players. I'm not saying the other ones are not good, but when you have that many big names
Oh my god.
in Top Cut like that, to me, what it says is it speaks on how extremely skillful of a format is. It's very indicative of a skillful format when the Top Cut is dominated by the most skillful players. Unless something drastic happens, like an emergency ban list or something of the sort, which I do not see happening. I'm going to be honest. I don't.
I think we'll get a ban. I think we'll get a ban list in a little more of a time, like the next ban list, probably a little bit closer about where it's supposed to be,
Right.
in a little more of a timely fashion.
I'm thinking around January, mid-January, because
Yeah.
last year we got an October ban list and then January, so I'm kind of putting money on January. Now, there's a lot of talk about an emergency ban list happening because the Ishizu tier cards are so dominant.
Oh my god.
There's a little bit of a conspiracy theory backing it up that if the tier limits cards, to everybody's shock, were not short printed even a little bit. If anything, they were overprinted.
Huh.
So the Ishizu cards are very, very affordable. Like, realistically, you can get the entire Ishizu core.
Like $60.
No, like I'd say like 80, 85.
Fair.
Still, $85 for the entire Ishizu core was less than half of what people were expecting. People were expecting $2 to $250.
Oh, easily.
So when you think about that, really, in all honesty, that in and of itself is a legitimate case for the Ishizu cards getting hit with an emergency ban list.
Well, the issue though is that is that in my opinion that would actually be the opposite. That they're not going to hit the Ishizu parts because they overprinted them. Because
If they were going to hit tier limit, they would have hit it on the ban list after. They hit Sprite. They could have hit tier limit, and they didn't.
because they wanted to sell the Ishizu stuff.
Okay, but if that's the case, and they really wanted to push that particular product using the Ishizu stuff, they would have short printed. This way, you don't have the entire player base complaining that they bought all these short printed cards.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Right, because what happens is if you short print the cards, it makes people want to buy more and more and more product. Whereas this way, you slam the product full of high-end staples to give it that estimated value pulled, and then you don't short print those cards. So you slam it full of other cards that are good. Don't short print those cards. That way, if you do an emergency adjusted list in like 2 or 3 weeks, then people aren't out near as much money as they would be, because the high estimated value pulled due to all the good staples as well as all the good stuff, everything in that set is really cheap, but in a good way, right? It's not everything's cheap because the set's bad. Not at all. Everything is cheap because the set is that good.
Yeah.
So when your estimate as a vendor, when their estimated value pulled is really high because there's so many good cards, it makes the entire value of everything in the set go down. That's why nothing in the Megatins is ever super duper expensive. Usually.
Yeah, usually.
Because usually if there's that many good cards in the Megatins, your estimated value pulled gets a lot higher. So sets like Blazing Vortex from last year, there was exactly one good card in that set, which was Pot of Prosperity. And nobody bought the set because there were no good cards in the set. So Prosperity got much higher. Whereas if you look at other cards that don't get that much more expensive, a lot of times if you look at it, it's because it's from a very good set with a lot of chopped up value. That's why Tri-Brigade Kit was a $6 super rare. Because the estimated value pulled from that set, same set as Prosperity, that was the second best card in the set. So the vendors have to get their value somewhere. You okay there?
I'm just nodding along, pretending like I understand.
More good cards, lower prices. Less good cards, higher prices. Yeah? That, I know, did not go over your head. So regardless, because there's so many good cards in the set, and there's not any short printing, except for Mo Yi, which is incredibly short printed for some reason, but there's no major stuff that's really short printed. So as a result, you end up with a deck that is almost affordable.
Almost.
I mean, realistically, you can get the entire Shizu tier limit deck, except for the Primitive Planet Paralinos.
Those are going to be like $300 for the playset.
$240. They're like 80 apiece.
Fair.
So, if you look at that, you're looking at, without Primitive Planets, you can get the entire deck, main and extra, maybe $250? 85 for the 85 for the Ishizu engine.
Yeah.
You can just say $15 for all of the tier limit main deck cards.
Yeah, because they're all common and like I think
except for Rhinoheart.
Yeah, who is a secret.
Ultra.
They're
a secret. 15 apiece, I think.
I'm thinking of a Kaleidoheart.
Yeah. So we'll say 135 is where we're at. And then you look at the 4 extra deck ones that you need and 2 Sprite cards that you need. So 2 Sprite cards together are 30. The 4 extra deck cards you need combined are 50. So that's another 80. So you're at 2 something. And then say 20 or 30 bucks for the Bestials. About 30, 35, $40 for the Bestials.
Closer to 300.
I mean, where I'm at is right at 250, but that's without staples.
Yeah, shipping.
It's without taxes or shipping.
Yeah. So I would say right around the $300 mark.
Yeah, but a lot of the time, a lot of that stuff you might already have.
Just
honestly,
lying around.
I mean, the Bestials, they're expensive, sure, but they were super rares.
Yeah, but then then of course, like if you just happen to have opened a lot of
Power of the Elements and Darkwing Blast.
Yeah, you probably have like all of that stuff. You probably have like a good chunk of that you definitely have like all of the main deck tier limit stuff outside of exactly Rhinoheart.
Yeah, you probably have all the commons.
Just lying around.
Yeah, all the commons and supers and stuff. You need
let's-
like Solic, Crime, and Tearlament's Heartbeat. And I want to say there's another spell you run.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. So, regardless, though, I want to take a look at an Ishizu tier list and kind of give people an idea of what a list looks like. Now, this is an Ishizu tier bestial list, and this is Walter Jules' top 8 deck list from YCS Pasadena. Credit to Team Bortle for posting this deck list. This deck list is on his channel if you want to go check it out. So,
In a timely fashion.
yes.
Appreciate you.
So to start off with, early in the deck profile, immediately he goes into, you have 3 of all the tier limit monsters, right? So 3 Rhinoheart, 3 Merly, 3 Sharon, and 3 Havness. And then he is playing 3 planets. Okay. Terraforming Instant Fusion and 2 tier limit Scream, which is the spell card that you play 2 of. Then you're going to play 1 Crime, 1 Solic, which are the 2 trap cards. And after that, you go into the Ishizu engine. So the Ishizu engine, you play 3 Kelbeck.
3 Medora.
Yeah, 3 Medora, 3 Keldo.
Yeah, that's not Kelbeck. That's Keldo.
Yeah, so 3 Medora, 3 Keldo. And then I think it's 1 Kelbeck and no Agido.
Agido is a very interesting card.
Yes, Agido is a weird one because it also makes your opponent mill, and in this format, you almost just don't want your opponent to mill.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so does Kelbeck.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But he does something else in addition to making your opponent mill.
Right. So next up on the list, we have the Bestial engine. So 3 Magnemite, 3 Druisworm, 3 Saronir. Straight up, 3/3/3. They're all supers. Now, the Magnemites are about 10 apiece. The Druisworms are 3 apiece, 3 to 5. And Saronirs are, I think, the cheapest one. But the Bestial engine is going to be really critical in doing a couple of things. It is interruption, and it helps you close games. But
Yeah.
essentially, the Bestials act as the hand traps of the deck. And he's also playing 3 Ghost Bell. But I think that there's other places you can take this list to make it. He is playing 3 of the field spell, but I think a list more like what Hani is playing, where Hani is playing the Diviners and the
Herald of
Orange Lights, and it gives you a bunch of cool plays, right? Because it gives you Baron plays, and it gives you the Herald of Orange Light as a hand trap, and it sends an Ishizu card potentially to the graveyard to trigger the Ishizu cards, which is broken.
Oh yeah.
So he's playing 2 Kit Kalos, 1 Kaleidoheart, 1 Roll Kalos, 1 Mud Dragon of the Swamp, 1 Garura. Then you have 1 Dark Charmer, 1 Sprite Sprint, 1 Sprite Elf.
Not gonna lie, I thought that was a Topologic Bomber Dragon. I was like, what?
No, that's a Sprite Elf. Gigantic Sprite, Downer Magician, Divine Arsenal, AA Zeus. And then, of course, a couple of necessary cards. Excuse me. You are also playing a Beatrice, an Abyss Dweller, and a Baguska. So, and that's the extra deck. Now, the side deck, that's going to be subjective.
Yeah.
The side deck is going to change depending on the format, depending on what's happening, all of that.
Depending upon, I mean, it's even going to depend upon what kind of tournament you're going into. Like, if you're going to a local, you're going to have a completely different side deck than if you're going to a regional.
Right.
Which is going to be a different side deck from if you're going to a YCS. It's going to be a completely different side.
Yeah, for sure. So, something that we wanted to do, though, going into this, was I wanted to talk about the Ishizu cards in particular. I want to talk about exactly what they do. So, I know we read off the effects of the Ishizu cards, like, several months ago.
I think it's time for a quick little refresher.
Yes, for sure. So we're going to go through, we're going to reread there's 5 Ishizu cards that you need to be aware of.
4 monsters and a trap card.
Yes. We'll read through them, talk about them a little bit, and
I got a funny thing that I figured out that I can do with this deck.
yes. So,
Not the deck, but these cards.
yes. So First off, we're going to start with Medora, the Sword Oracle. So Medora is a level 4 Earth Fairy, like they all are. Are they all level 4?
Yes.
Okay, so they're all level 4 Earth Fairies. Medora says you can discard one other Earth Fairy monster, which is cost, special summon this card from your hand. Then you can place one Gravekeeper's Trap from your deck face up in your spell and trap zone. Quick effect, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard, then target up to 3 cards in any graveyards. Or up to 5 if Exchange of the Spirit is on your field or in your graveyard.
Never going to happen.
Yeah. Some people are playing Exchange of the Spirit.
Really?
Yes, they're
That's
taking
cool.
1 because they can mill it and then do more.
That's cool.
Yes. So up to 3 or 5 if Exchange of the Spirit is there, shuffle them into the deck. You can only use each effect once per turn. Okay. Then we have Keldo, the Sacred Protector. You can discard one other Earth Fairy monster, special summon this card from your hand. Then add one Exchange of the Spirit or one card that mentions it from your deck to your hand. So, quick effect. You can banish this card from your field or graveyard. Then target up to 3 cards in any graveyard or 5 if Exchange of the Spirit is on your field or in your graveyard. Shuffle them into the deck. So, this one lets you add Exchange of the Spirit. And so yeah, add Exchange of the Spirit or a card that mentions it. They all mention it.
Therefore, you can search for any of them.
Right. And then quick effect, shuffle 3 or 5.
Yeah.
And then
literally the exact same thing that Medora does.
yes. Next you have Kelbeck. So there's Medora, Keldo, and Kelbeck. And I believe
Agaido.
the stats are a bit different. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was seeing if the stats were the same because
Oh, no, they're all different.
well, Medora and Kelbeck are the same.
Really?
Yes, and
Weird.
Agaido's very close. Okay, Kelbeck. If a card or cards is sent from the hand or deck to your opponent's graveyard, except during the damage step, you can target one special summoned monster your opponent controls. Special summon this card from your hand, then return that monster to the hand. If this card is sent from hand or deck to the graveyard, you can activate this effect. Each player sends the top 5 cards of their deck to the graveyard, or their entire deck if less than 5. Then, if Exchange of the Spirit is in your graveyard, you can set one trap from your graveyard. Each effect once per turn.
That's any trap, by the way. It just says set a trap.
Yes.
I'm going to reset this Solemn Judgment if you don't mind.
All right, then we have Agido, the Ancient Sentinel. If a card or cards is sent from the hand or deck to the opponent's graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then you can special summon one level 4 Earth Fairy monster from your graveyard, except Agido. If this card is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, you can activate this effect. Each player sends the top 5 cards of the deck to the graveyard, or their entire deck if less than 5. Then in exchange of the Spirit is in your graveyard, you can send 5 more cards from the top of either player's deck to the graveyard. So, essentially, this is what we have. Medora and Keldo can special summon themselves for free
By pitching an Earth Fairy.
by discarding an Earth Fairy. Then Medora will place a Gravekeeper's Trap from your deck face up, and then you can banish it from field or grave to shuffle 3 back.
Now, the key thing to keep in mind with Medora is that he's not activating from the deck, and he's not setting from the deck. It just goes on the
Places
field,
it,
places
yeah.
it face up.
Keldo, you can special summon it for free by discarding, and then you add a card that mentions Exchange of the Spirit, which is all of them. So you can search one of them. And then quick effect, you can banish it from your field or grave and shuffle 3 or 5, just like Medora. Now, Kelbeck says if a card is sent from hand or deck to your opponent's graveyard,
Doesn't matter why.
right, you target a special summoned monster your opponent controls, special summon it from your hand, and then bounce that monster, compulse it.
Oh, look at that, you ashed. Get punished.
Yeah, really. And then if this is sent from hand or deck to grave, you can have each player send the top 5 cards of their deck to the graveyard. And then if Exchange of Spirit is there, you set a trap. And then Agido is if a card is sent from hand or deck to your opponent's graveyard, special summon this, then special summon a level 4 Earth Fairy from your graveyard except itself. And then if it's sent from hand or deck to grave, you can have players mill 5 or 10 if Exchange of the Spirit is there. Okay, so I know I just repeated all the effects, but I'm trying to condense it a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So the funny thing about these, particularly Medora and
Keldo. Sure.
They allow Madolche to very easily go full board, activate their effects to shuffle back 3 and banish themselves, and then Shifter
Yeah.
at the end of the turn.
Yeah, you can go full combo and then just Shifter at the end of your combo, which is a wild thing to say.
Pass with a full board and a Shifter and an active Shifter.
Which is a wild thing to say.
And
then it makes your Shifters live later.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, but also it gives you extra bodies on board to push through. And yes, you won't be able to do some things because they require specifically Madolches.
Yeah.
But then you can just kind of shrug at it and go, oh no, start making an Abyss Dweller or a Baguska.
Yup. It's insane.
And finally, the 3 main Madolche monsters, well, there's 4 main ones. Magdalene, Petting Cessior, Pudding Cess, and Angeli.
Sure.
3 of those are Earth Fairies themselves.
Yup.
And then also you got the Vernus Sylphs, who also basically do that as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Madolche, Vernus Sylph, and
Shizu.
And a Shizu cards sound like a kind of a crazy combo.
Oh yeah, it's definitely interesting. So I got something to work on
Got some cooking to do.
I got some recipe brewing to do for the next 2 months.
Also, can we just take a moment to embrace how wild it is that Keldo is $35 on presale and it's now a $5 card?
I know, right?
Right. Medora.
It's crazy.
Medora was $35 also. Also now a $5 card.
I think it's because people were expecting these to be short printed to heck and back.
Yeah.
And they were not.
Yeah. It's a wild thing to think about.
You know what I think happened?
What?
I think instead of short printing them, they just had them printed at the normal rate that they would print literally any other card in the set, and just no one has noticed that that's how it's supposed to work, because...
Well, no, that was the first 10 minutes of our conversation.
No, like me thinking about it and hearing that made me go, maybe they just decided to not short print it, but they also didn't increase it. It's just the normal print rate.
Yeah, I mean it probably is just the normal print rate, but
it's the way
that's crazy. That's insane.
Yeah,
that's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Okay, there's one more, which is Gravekeeper's Trap, which is not run that often, but it's worth mentioning.
Even if they do, they run 1.
Yeah. While Exchange of the Spirit is in your graveyard, your opponent cannot activate the effects of cards in the graveyard or special summon monsters from the graveyard. That on its own is
that's kind of
pretty good.
It's kind of worth the brick with Exchange of the Spirit.
Yeah. And especially when you can just activate this from your deck and mill Exchange of the Spirit out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. During the main phase, you can discard 1 card, add 1 Gravekeepers or Earth Fairy from your deck to your hand. Yeah, that's pretty good. During your opponent's draw phase, before their normal draw, if this card is already face up on the field, declare 1 card name. Look at the card drawn for their normal draw, and if it was the declared card, send it to the graveyard. I have seen people hit on this.
Oh my god.
NBT in his 10-minute testing was playing this in the Naturia Ishizu deck, and he declared Sprite Blue and hit.
Oh no.
Yeah. Smoked him. It's without a doubt the craziest thing that you can do is just hit off of it.
To be fair, there's no cost to just declaring something.
Yeah, and not only that, you just say, wow, what hurts me the most right here? What would be the worst thing for my opponent to draw? If they don't draw it, cool. You're in a good spot.
If they do, they have to discard it.
Yeah. Man, it would be terrible if,
if they drew
a Bestial Druisworm. Peace.
Or man, I really hope they don't draw into Lava Golem.
Yeah.
Lava Golem. Oh, look at that. You would have had me there, buddy.
It's an insane thing to think about.
Yep.
Honestly, it's such The deck is so good, but the thing that really sticks out to me is how skillful it is to play.
Oh my lord, is 5-headed.
Yeah, playing a Shizu tier mirrors, there's no free game. Everything is insane. We were watching the finals match, like I said. It was one of the craziest games of Yugo I've ever seen. It looks like so much fun.
Just constant back and forth, back and forth. Oh my god.
Yeah. So now you might be wondering, okay, this deck is crazy. You've emphasized enough how crazy this deck is. How do I stop it? There's a couple of things you can do.
Dweller is a heck of a card if you can make it.
He's right. Make Dweller. That's your first line of defense. Make Dweller. Dweller is really good. The next thing I can recommend is there's a couple of cards that you can run to really help out. Things like the Bestial. The Bestial engine is insane because it gives you the ability to obviously stop the tier limit monsters from resolving. It gives you the ability to stop the... you can use it on the Ishizu cards when they go to shuffle things back into the deck, the Keldo and the Medora. When they go to shuffle something back into the deck...
They have to shuffle all 3.
No, that's not true.
No, I thought they did.
No, they don't have to shuffle all 3, but you can... If they're wanting to shuffle back their tier limit names...
Oh, you can just banish them.
You can just banish them. Or if they want to shuffle back something so that they can keep reusing stuff, you can send it away.
Yeah.
So the Bestial engine is very good, and in the same vein, obviously DD Crow is also extremely good.
Dimension Shifter, different dimension grounds.
Silent Graveyard. Anything that's going to shut down the graveyard in that vein.
Soul Drain.
Yeah, if you can play Soul Drain, that is a good card to play right now.
Which is literally just Skill Drain, but for the graveyard. There's also Mind Drain, which is
For the hand.
skill Drain, but for the hand.
Yes. So I would say if you can... Any of those cards that blanket negate the graveyard, like we said, you have Abyss Dweller and Silent Graveyard, do that. Or you have Different Dimension Ground and Dimensional Shifter, stop things from going there in the first place. Macrocosmos even.
Oh, Dimension Fissure?
Yes, D-Fissure. Actually, Dimension Fissure is the one I was thinking of, not Macrocosmos. Macrocosmos is probably too slow. It also does the job, but it's probably too slow.
Well, no. Well, it would really depend, because if you go your whole turn and not mill them, and then you just go set it and pass, it's fine.
Right. Something you could do is, if you can make it easily.
Shen.
Yeah, but that's only card sent from the field. But you can still do Virtual World QB Shen. So.
Yeah.
Something
it's not as good.
It's something.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah. So, at the end of it, you want to stop their effects. So, you can run things like... You can even go kind of deep into the tank. You can run the... If you're running the deck, I would recommend running the Herald of Orange Light package.
Yeah, Herald is good.
And if you're not running the deck, you can run even cards like Skullmeister. You can run Ghost Bell. In fact, you should probably be running Ghost Bell. And I would even say that you should...
Ghost Ogre is decent because you can hit the field spell.
Yeah,
that's why I said decent.
Not
that good.
It's really not good because you would really only hit a Solic. And even if you hit the Solic, then when it goes to grave, it's going to get an effect. So it's kind of...
Yeah.
It's kind of iffy. I wouldn't run Ghost Ogre.
I still have another card.
Sure.
Okay. Different Dimension Barrier?
Different Dimension Barrier?
Yeah, the one that everyone hates. That's like...
Dimensional Barrier.
Yeah, thank you. Dimensional Barrier. And also Non-Fusion Area.
Non-Fusion Area would do the job.
Yeah. It literally says neither player can fusion summon.
Yes. The issue with those cards are that they're really slow.
Yeah, oh yeah, no. Like with the Dimensional Barrier, you have to set it, pass. Again, if you're playing a deck that doesn't mill your opponent, does it matter?
You have to be going first, and even then, they have other things that they can do.
That's entirely fair.
they're not restricted. They can link, they can fusion, they can exceed, they can synchro. We saw Hani make Baron de Fleur.
Yeah, with non-fusion area. With barrier, they can only link summon.
I mean, potentially, but you're probably going to call fusion every time.
Fair.
So, unless you just read the game state that well.
Yeah, but it's still a thing.
I don't think there's any world where you can play this format without running triple tactics talent.
You could probably get away with it for a time. It would really depend on whether or not you're playing a Siju tier element. If you are playing it, you might be able to get away with it at like locals, possibly even regionals.
Here's my reasoning. The Ishizu tier deck, as we saw in the finals match,
Oh yeah, it's just constant monster effects going back and forth both turns.
it's communist Yu-Gi-Oh!
Our turn.
Our turn. And even when it's not the Ishizu tier deck, the second best deck is probably Fluandereeze.
Which is also our turn, brother.
Or Sprite, which has Elf, which summons on your turn.
And Toad.
And sometimes Toad, yeah. I mean, everything plays on your turn now, so
Yeah.
Triple Tactics talent is kind of broken.
Yep.
So
Good thing it's reasonably inexpensive.
yeah, it's kind of crazy. Magnificent Mavens is a very reasonably priced set on a lot of cards.
Yeah, like what is that really nice looking ultra rare Change of Heart? Couple of dollars?
$130.
No, the other nice one.
Oh, we said the really nice one.
Fair.
$1.
Yeah. Like don't even like cuz like the ultras in this set I found have looked really good.
Yes, for sure.
So like it's like the Change of Heart looks really good. The Harpy's
Feather Duster looks awesome.
Ooh, and I can finally get a non-gold alt art Appaloosa.
Yes, you can get your ugly Appaloosa.
How much are those?
$3, $4.
Nice.
Yeah. Skill drains at $4, by the way. If anybody wants to send me some skill drains or talents or lightning storms or evenlies, our PO box is down below. But
Jokingly.
yeah, jokingly.
That kind of hurts though, seeing that 76 cents
Intis?
yeah.
Yeah. Trust me, it hurts me seeing a $2.45 Sword Soul of Moyi. When I say that hurts, brother, it hurts.
But back to the talents.
Yes, talents are about
The
$10.
TTT, yeah. That's like reasonably inexpensive.
Yeah.
It's rough, still kind of rough, but it's cards you will use until they ban it, most likely.
Yeah, you will. It's a good card. And I don't see talents getting banned, but regardless, I would personally say that it's with everything playing so much on your turn these days, it's pretty much a must-have for me.
Oh, yeah, no, I can get Change of Hat, Pot Agreed. I don't even know what that
Accent was?
That accent was. Change of Heart, Pot Agreed, or Trap Dash Shoot.
Okay, so we have some mailbag questions. What do you say?
Woo, mailbag questions.
All right, so what are your thoughts on some certain rogue decks that have access to and are able to play Shifter? Fluandereeze is tier 2, but it's still good.
Yeah, because it can play Shifter.
Hilariously, by the numbers, it almost might be tier 1.
Technically, it is the second most represented deck in the room.
It might be a tie between Flu and Sprite, but yeah,
Fair.
Sure. Close enough.
Yeah.
Who cares? Do you think it's and Madolce. Do you think it's a good choice that the TCG follows a different ban list? You know, I go back and forth a lot on this.
It really depends. Yeah, me too. But for me, it depends on the individual TCG exclusive cards.
Yeah,
because that's what creates the differing game states.
I generally like the TCG ban list more. I'm more a fan of there being less floodgates in our format. I say that. They have Mystic Mind Band. We have Vanity's Emptiness Band.
That's definitely some give and take there.
Yeah, we have, let's see. I was going to say Skill Drain at 3.
Don't they still have VFD?
They have VFD, but you know what? We don't have Wind Up Carriers and Mating.
Fair.
They have Max C. I would just rather play in the format without Max C. I think it's fine to have separate ban lists for now, and I think it's almost kind of necessary considering how far ahead they are on a release schedule from us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, definitely.
What's the best spooky deck? A bit late, but the best spooky deck. Thematically, not competitively.
Okay, we have 3 solid options, actually.
I can think of 2 off the top of my head.
No, 4. We have 4 solid options.
Ghost Rick, Vampires. I'm done. What you got?
Okay. Labyrinth, because it is just a spook house,
Sure.
technically. And you gotta rattle them. Gotta rattle them, Skelly Boys, with the skeletons. The whites.
Oh.
Skull Servants, baby.
I don't even know that I count Skull Servants.
Gotta rattle them bones. Rattle, rattle.
I have many comments that, but I'm gonna.
Gotta play the. I keep replaying this one scene from Army of Darkness with like the one skeleton soldier just playing a flute that's made out of a bone.
Yeah. Short time listener, first time asking. I'm getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh! After stopping in 2014-ish with Lightsworns and Noble Knights being the decks I was using. I just bought 3 Fallen of Albash structure decks. What should I add and how would you play that deck? So, first off, thank you so much for listening to our podcast and joining our Discord server and asking questions. We really appreciate it. Second off, the best thing I can recommend is to go on YouTube and find some videos.
Yes.
So, I would say if you bought 3 Fallen of Albash structure decks, I would add branded openings, Alubers, and then hand traps. Like, I would not add Ash Blossom this particular format.
Yeah.
Ghost Bell, I don't know if Ghost Bell was in that structure deck, but
I don't know either off the top of my head. But I know you can get Ghost Bells for real cheap because it was in
the Crystal Beast structure deck.
Yes. So
yeah. But I would definitely look into the
I think you're going to
deck lists.
I think they also need Guardian Chimeras.
Yeah, you need 2 Guardian Chimeras. You can get away with 1 maybe, but you really need 2.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think that if we get a Master Roll 6, Konami will use it to slow down the pace of the game? Maybe doing something like limiting the number of special summons to 10 or 15, or maybe making you only be able to play 2 of each monster or something else. Another thing they could do would be use the same kind of ban list Duel Links uses and limit all generic boss monsters. I don't see the Duel Links ban list thing happening or the only playing 2 of each monsters because these are essential core things that we've had from the very beginning of the game. Now, essential core things have changed before. They do that with Master Rules all the time. But this is something that they've never touched in 20 years because they like the way it is.
Yeah.
Same thing with 2 copies versus 3.
Yeah. My biggest issue with the whole, put a cat limit on how many special summons per turn is then you have to keep track of that. And
which is already a lot to keep track of in the game. Yeah,
because then you also keep track of whether or not, 15 different cards have been used to this turn because they only be used once per turn.
Right.
But now you also keep track of how many times you summon past 5.
I think Konami will do something to shake the game up quite a bit in Master Roll 6.
If we ever get one.
We should next year.
Theoretically.
Yeah. If they follow the schedule that they've been following for 15 years, but they don't have to do that, so it's weird.
Yeah.
So we could see them try to slow the game down, but the more and more I think about it, I almost think they like these fast-paced, high-octane gameplay. I mean, we just talked about the best finals we had ever seen.
Yeah.
So, what are your top 5 One Piece antagonists? In no particular order. Don Quixote do Flamingo, Crocodile, Rob Lucci, Enel, and Akainu.
Ooh. I agree with all but one.
Which one do you not agree with?
I think Rob Lucci is garbage
Whoa!
as an antagonist.
Whoa! Wow!
'Cause to
you're
me-
gonna catch heat for
Yes,
that.
because to me, his whole thing is just, is pretty much just, I'm badass assassin man, and you're boring me.
I think it was the level of threat and confidence, similar to what we got from Crocodile and even Doflamingo to a certain extent. The confidence that they exude and seeing how they react when that comes crashing
Now-
down. Like the Rob Lucci fight, Rob Lucci didn't get angry or upset or PO'd. He got excited when Luffy was taking him to his limit.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying he's the worst antagonist in One Piece.
Okay.
Not in my top 5. But I would replace Rob Lucci with Buggy, mostly because of his, like, just how his character has changed from the beginning to now.
I forget that you're a Buggy truther. Can't stand Buggy. How do I stop a Shizu tear from appearing in my dream? First, you have to decide whether it's a dream or a nightmare. If it's a
Okay.
dream, then you buy the deck, embrace it, and use your sleep time to also work on combo lines. If it's a nightmare, just buy as many copies of Dimension Shifter as you can afford.
Just count scapegoats.
True.
Or scapegoat tokens.
Yep.
Maybe some stray lambs.
All right, so that will wrap it up for today's episode. We want to, of course, again, I cannot stress this enough. Congratulations to Hani for winning the YCS. Such an amazing accomplishment. His first solo YCS win. Huge shout out to YCS. Huge shout out to Jesse Cotton for his runner-up finish. He's really doing amazing things, and his consistency is frightening. And of course, we also want to thank all of our wonderful sponsors. So again, a huge thank you to Dragon Shield TCG Player. Affiliate links down below. Millennium Threads, you can check them out at the link down below with a discount code, as well as Gem Accessories, same thing, discount code down below with the link. And of course, ETB Games for sponsoring the podcast. So, and thank you to all of our wonderful patrons and everybody who's joined our Discord server. Woo! So, with that said, thank you all for listening to today's episode of the Top Cut Podcast. Have a great week.
Take care, everybody.